And Amanda, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's get this show on the road. We'll call the February 17, 2021 meeting with Greenville Board of Public Works and Safety to order at 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please, Amanda.
Mr. Hoover,
Here.
Mr. Rutherford,
Here.
Mr. Colvin.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Minutes of the regular session of February 1st, our last regular meeting, have been distributed to members of the board. Is there any corrections, additions, or deletions from staff? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
Move for approval. I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Colvin, seconded by Mr. Rutherford. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. First on our agenda is Nathan Snell, from 2483 Bobolink Court. Mr. Snell, are you with us?
I am.
Great, thank you. Tell us what you're wanting to do.
We just like to put in a patio in our backyard, and just the way that our house is laid out, we're very close to the drainage, sewer, utility easement, and so we just wanted to be able to encroach by about 3 feet into that easement for building the porch, as you can see in the drawing there.
Okay. Nathan, we've received a memo, and hoping you have as well, from Jeff Weaver, showing some proposed conditions or recommendations of our department. Have you had a chance to review those?
I do. I apologize. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'll look at my email right now. Jeff Weaver.
Jeff Weaver, February 11th is the date of the memo.
Mr. Hoover, this is Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
I think, hi. It's possible that Paul Peony may have sent that around 3:45, 3:30-ish today.
Oh, okay. Well, Nathan, let us kind of maybe walk you through that. The engineering division is making a recommendation to our board that we approve your encroachment request subject to 3 conditions. The first is that you construct the patio to allow for adequate drainage. And if it's determined by the engineering division of the city or the stormwater department that a drainage issue is being created by the construction of your patio, that you will be responsible to correct said drainage issue. That's our first recommendation. Is that a problem for you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'd be using a professional contractor, and I'm sure they're planning to, based on conversations that we've had, they're planning to grade it away from the house anyway, of course. So,
great, good. The second condition would be that if there's any work that's necessary to be done in that easement in the future by any of the utilities or the city, that you would be responsible for removal and replacement of your patio at your sole expense, and you would further hold the utilities or the city harmless for any damage that might have been occasions to your patio. Do you understand that? And would you agree to that?
Yes. Yeah, I kind of expected that would be a condition.
That's a very standard condition we put. And the final one is that you notify Indiana 811 prior to construction so that all buried utilities can be marked. I'm trusting you will do that, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And I found the email, so I'm seeing those conditions in writing here. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Snell from members of the board? What is the pleasure of the board?
I would move to approve. I'll second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Colvin, seconded by Mr. Rutherford. That's subject to those 3 conditions, I'm assuming, Jeff and Shan?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Okay.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Snell. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome to stay with us, but you're also welcome to leave.
Well, I do have one question. So what's kind of the next step? Like, will I get any kind of like a letter that says that this passed, or just so, because I have to submit something back to my HOA.
Sure. Daniel, you want to bring him up to speed on the next process?
Sure. Generally, the Board of Works minutes from tonight will be approved at the next meeting, and that'll be the first meeting in March on.
March 1st.
March
Yes.
1st.
Yeah, Monday, March 1st. And then they'll be official at that time. Then you'd be able to get that to your HOA. I think the standard procedure for a concrete patio like this is you do not need a specific building permit as well. You do not need that permit, that is.
Right. Okay.
And if you do have any questions going through the process, you can contact the city. Just ask for Mr. Johnston and he will direct you to the right person if he can't answer your question. Okay?
Okay. Great.
Great. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Next on our agenda is Lisa Vest from Human Resources. Lisa, you've got a lot for us this evening.
Not that much. I lost
Okay.
everybody. Can you hear me?
Dan, thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't know what happened to my screen. So the first that we have up tonight is our consideration for our plan year 2021-2022 healthcare contracts. This would be starting for April 1st, and it will go through March 31st of next year. So we're asking consideration for these contracts to be approved for our healthcare benefits.
Can you give us, I know you've given us the extensive paperwork. Can you give us sort of the executive summary of what we're doing here?
Basically, we are in our renewal process. So what was given is the information with respect to the fixed administrative costs through Anthem, as well as our stop loss, those documents, as well as what our benefit summary consists of, along with our vision plan and what the benefit summary for our vision plan consists of. We also have in there our flexible spending account. And then there are renewal summaries for some of our products that we have that are voluntary with the standard, as well as our dental contract.
Have there been any significant changes from our previous year's contracts?
Pierre, are you on here?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so significant changes. No, the plan designs did not change from the prior year. The fixed cost increase on a plan spend of over $4.5 million is about $157,000 to your fixed cost. So the only change going forward, there's a specific deductible which increased by about $20,000. Other than that, that's pretty much it in the contract from contractual terms. So the biggest risk that you have is from your claims, the claims that employees have, but the fixed costs did increase as a percentage of the plan, probably about 4%.
Lisa, are you comfortable with what, I assume you're recommending that we approve this contract, the renewal?
Yes, I am recommending for approval, please.
Any questions for Lisa or for Pierre?
Well, I'd recommend for approval.
Thank you, Shan.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Colvin. Further discussion?
Would that
All in
include,
favors?
authorizing the mayor to sign any and all necessary documents?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. Lisa, now we're going on to your next item on our agenda is the medical excuse resolution, I guess is the way to say it.
Yes, a resolution 21-04. We're asking for consideration of this resolution to clarify when employees need a document, returning them back to work from an illness or an injury that is non-work related after missing 3 consecutive days of work or 2 shifts for fire personnel. We wanted to get this to be a little bit more of a policy in place with respect to safeguarding our employees, making sure that if they are out for a personal injury, when they do come back, they are coming back with a notification of with or without restrictions to make sure that we are keeping them within the guidelines of doctor recommendations, as well as making sure that if an employee is out with an illness, that they are well enough to come back to work without infecting other coworkers. So that's, we wanted to clear up that policy on making sure we have return to work slips.
I'm assuming that applies for any of our employees that have contracted COVID-19.
That, yes, COVID is a little bit differently. What we've done with the COVID related issues, if anyone has any symptoms and have seen a provider and is sent for COVID testing, they are given a notification to be off work due to COVID testing. Once that result comes back, if it's a negative result and they can come back to work, they have to have a release to come back to work. If it is a positive result, they would quarantine for 10 days and they are not able to come back to work without a provider releasing them back to the workplace.
Okay. Have we had a return to work policy in the past?
The only place that it really specifies is under our FMLA policy and our short-term disability policy. And I know that there are multiple departments that actually do get notifications from their employees when they're off for a period of time, especially when it comes to an injury and making sure that if that person is not well enough to do the full physical aspects of their position, that if the doctor does recommend them to be on restricted duty, that we are notified of that restricted duty. So that way we can keep our employees safe and not put them in a situation that they may not technically be well enough to be in.
Okay. Any questions for Lisa? And I saw that Chief Hoggett was on here. Chief, did you have any input on this?
Yeah, we talked with both Lisa and the legal department and coming up with this resolution. We're very comfortable with it.
Okay, great, thank you. Is there a motion to approve resolution 21-04 as presented?
I'll move for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Colvin. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Lisa. Have a good rest of your evening.
You also, thank you.
Amanda, we're going to turn back to you.
Yes, it was brought to my attention. I have a fairly typographical error that needs corrected in the December 21st Board Works minutes. The very first item following the meeting minutes was a fence encroachment request. The December 21st on the record specifically says 2548 Marsh Hawk Drive, lot 406, Preserve at South Lake, section 12. And it should read 89 Kinnick Drive, lot 2, the estate at Rock Lane Ridge, section 1. So I would request, so the record is clear, that you authorize that I can switch out the page of the December 21st meeting minutes, as well as making the notation in today's record when I type up the minutes.
I note that Mr. Rutherford made that motion. It was seconded by Mr. Colvin. So
Yes.
can people make that motion to correct those minutes?
Yes, I so move.
I'll second.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thanks, Amanda, for catching that.
Thank you.
Mr. Wagner,
I am here.
you are here. Hope you brought a pillow. We've got a lot of stuff here from you.
I do. Good evening, guys.
Good evening. I'm going to start out with a chateau at Woodfield, section 4.
Yes. The next three are all pretty identical, but basically we have submitted a maintenance bond for the sidewalks in Chateau at Woodfield Section 4. All of the necessary repairs were made to meet the final inspection. And so we're asking for the release of the performance bond, acceptance of the maintenance bond, as well as acceptance of the sidewalk improvements into the city.
The only thing that appears to be different in any three of these items are the amount of the letter of credit and the identification of the performance letter of credit. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're all a little bit different in value based on the number of lots and the length of the sidewalks themselves was what the performance or the engineer's estimate was based off of. So they're all a little bit different value, and they're all, one's for Section 4, one's for Section 5, and one is for Section 6.
I'm going to try to short circuit this, and I will move for approval of the for Chateau at Woodfield Sections 4, 5, and 6, accepting the sidewalks, accepting the maintenance letters of credit, and releasing the performance letters of credit, all as set forth in Paul Peoni's memos to the board of today's date.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Colvin. Further discussion? Daniel, are you okay with doing it three at a time?
Yes.
Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Doug, let's move on then to homecoming at University Park, Section 15.
All right. This is actually the last Section 15 of 15 at homecoming. We have completed all the construction, barring a couple few small items, but basically we're asking for acceptance of the improvements. We do have the acceptance of the maintenance guarantees. We do have some performance guarantees out there for the sidewalks, asphalt surface. I think that's it for now. So we're asking for acceptance of the improvements, acceptance of the maintenance bonds and the performance bonds, as well as acceptance and execution of the final plat for homecoming Section 15.
Doug, we've got on Paul Peoni's memo today, there's three conditions: receipt of the revised final plat, review and approval of that by engineering and planning departments, payment of a couple relatively minor fees, the sanitary sewer inspection and testing agreement, and the balance on the general inspection and testing agreement. Are you okay with all of those?
Yes, yeah, that's fine. I have dropped off the plat for their earlier today, and I had the checks with me and forgot to leave them, so I'll probably overnight them down to
Okay.
all tomorrow. But yes, I'm fine with all three of those.
Daniel, you okay with all that then, subject to those conditions?
Yes, we are.
Is there a motion with the board?
I would move that we approve subject to those three conditions.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jeff and Shan. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Thanks, Doug. Have a
All
good
right, guys.
evening. Stay warm.
Bye now.
Next, we're going to move on to Handel's Ice Cream in this cold evening. Ryan Hunsley, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So essentially, we've got this project that was completed mid last year. Of recent, in the last month or so, we've done the final inspection. We had a couple improvement to make on the sidewalk there. Those have been made. And so we are requesting acceptance of the performance guarantees and also the acceptance of the sidewalks maintenance guarantee.
Daniel, if I'm reading Paul Peoni's memo correctly, it's an unconditional recommendation.
That's correct. And also to acknowledge the completion of the improvements and also acceptance of the public improvements.
Okay. Questions for Ryan or for Daniel? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll move for approval.
Thank you, Shannon.
Second.
Second by Mr. Colvin. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion passed unanimously. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you very much. I do have one quick question.
Certainly.
This is my first time in your process here, so will I receive copies of the bonds with the release at the bottom filled out, or how will that work?
Daniel's going to answer that.
Sure. It's pretty simple. After the board signs it, we'll have the originals here. You'll just need to come pick up the originals. We do make a copy ourselves just to have on records that it was picked up.
Okay. And
And we try
when
to
was
get
that?
it signed within the next couple of days.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, I'll reach out and maybe next week and see if those are ready and come pick them up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Evening. Next on our agenda is Dermatology Inc. at the Airport Parkway. Christy, I hope I don't mispronounce your last name, so I'm going to not even try it. What's
It's Autajay.
Autajay? Okay. Tell us what you'd like to do or have.
So, yeah, we have the acknowledge of our improvements, acceptance of the improvements, acceptance of our maintenance guarantees, and release of the performance guarantees. And I've been working with Paul because he does have 3 conditions that we need to meet. I did drop off the signed maintenance guarantees this afternoon. We're just waiting for Mylars and a digital copy of our as-built from our construction company.
Okay.
As well as the drainage, the easement drainage.
Okay. So you're fine with all those 3 conditions, obviously, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Daniel, anything out of the ordinary on this other than just the 3 conditions?
No, we've already received the maintenance guarantees. We just need to review them.
Okay.
So, but the other conditions still accurate.
Okay. Is there a motion from the board on this matter?
I move for approval, subject to those conditions.
Second.
Jeff? Thank you, Shan. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously. Okay. Thank you, Christy. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
Next, Greenwood Estates Mobile Home Park, Craig Cantola. Craig, I saw you
hello.
on here. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Tell us what we're doing.
So we, as part of the Greenwood Estates redevelopment project, we have a portion of the sanitary sewer is going to be dedicated as public. And we also have stormwater management features, and both of those need to be within accepted easements. And so we're looking to get basically sign off or approval of those easements so we can get them signed and recorded.
Daniel, anything else on this one?
Nope, that is just the one condition there that the agreement, both easement agreements would be executed and recorded by the developer.
Okay. Well, I'll move that we approve this request.
Second.
Thank you, Jeff. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Heck, are you with us?
I'm here. Yes. Good
Yeah.
afternoon. Good evening.
Yeah, whatever this is, it's starting to, it's cold.
That's right.
We're talking 1173 Airport Parkway Industrial Building. Tell us more specifically.
Correct. Yes.
What's going on, Joe?
This is for new construction for the building at 1173 Airport Parkway. Just seeking the acceptance of the performance guarantees and the inspection testing agreement, and requesting encroachment onto existing platted easements for construction, and requesting the mayor to be able to sign the O&M manual for the water quality structures. This is the new building that's south of our current building that we're at.
Office,
So
okay.
it's
I was just kind of looking through this, Joe. Am I missing the O&M manual issue? Being on this menu? Emma? Yeah, I found it. Okay. Well, why don't we let's leave the encroachment request. We'll do that in just a minute, but let's do the performance bonds and the performance guarantees issue first. Daniel,
Okay.
looks like the only issues on there, recommended conditions are receipt of the performance guarantees as revised, and then review and approval by legal and engineering, and receipt of the original inspection and testing agreement, and review and approval the same by the legal department. And I guess it would also be authorizing the mayor to sign the O&M manual for water quality. Is that accurate, Daniel?
Yes, it is accurate, and we did receive this afternoon the original revised performance guarantees. They just need to be reviewed, as well as the original general inspection and testing agreement. So that needs to be reviewed as well.
Okay. And that includes the paying the upfront fee for that. Okay. Questions for Joe or Daniel on this matter?
I'd move for approval subject to those conditions.
Thank you, Jeff.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Now, Jeff, let's go tell us about the encroachment request.
the encroachment that we need is on the west side of the property. We have landscaping that's going in required along the right of way, and since this has a platted drainage and utility easement along Airport Parkway, we're requesting an encroachment to put that landscaping over the easement. And then in the east side of the lot, there's an interceptor sewer with an existing sanitary sewer easement. And we have, since this building is going to be, there's going to be another building built behind it so we've got parking or asphalt we're going to install now over the easement for access to the second back building when it gets built next year. So we're requesting encroachment to install our asphalt over the sanitary sewer easement in the east side of the lot.
And Joe, when
Those are the two.
Yeah. When you say back, you mean to the east of the building?
To the east. Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's another lot east of it, the Greenbrook Park building, which they were going to do both buildings, but they held off on the east building until the rest of Greenbrook Park gets built because there's some drainage issues. So they withdrew building the east building and just doing the west building on the 1173 tract. Does that make sense?
As much as you can to a lawyer, I tell you.
All right.
There are some conditions, and I'm not sure if you've seen the Jeff Weaver's memo. There's 4 conditions. Have you seen that, Joe?
No, I didn't get those today. No.
Okay. They are encroachment agreement to be prepared by the legal department, executed by owner of the parcel and the Board of Works, and to be recorded by the owner. 2, the landscaping and asphalt parking lots shall not disrupt the flow of the stormwater. 3, should any work, which is our typical one, should any work within the easement be necessary by any of the utilities of the city, the owner shall be responsible for removal and replacement of that landscaping and asphalt parking lots at the owner's sole expense, and the owner would further hold the city and any utilities harmless from any damage to that landscaping or parking lots. And that finally, that Indiana 811 is notified prior to any construction so the utilities can be marked. Any problems with any of the conditions?
No problems with those.
Okay. Is there a memo or a is there a motion for approval subject to those 4 conditions?
I'll move for approval subject to those 4 conditions.
I'll second.
Thank you, Shan. Thank you, Jeff. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right.
Thank you,
Board.
Have a good
Good night.
evening.
Goodbye. Thank you. Bye.
Next, we're going to turn to Patrick Moon. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Are you with us, Patrick?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Farnsworth Group for Casey's General Store. We've got a memo from
Correct.
today in front of us as well. So tell us what's going on.
Casey's is proposing to construct about a 4,500 square foot C-store at the intersection shown, County Line and North Graham Road. I've gone through all the review process and looking for acceptance of the performance guarantees, acceptance of the inspection and testing agreements, and acceptance of the final plat. I know there's 2 conditions, and I apologize. I had to leave the office early and didn't bring that memo with me, but I believe one of them had to do with having original signatures on the guarantees. It was one of them, I believe. And actually, Eric Nickel from Casey's is also on the line if there's any questions with regarding to those documents as well.
Well, the recommended conditions that we've been provided is that the city receives original performance guarantees and then review and approval of them by the legal department and engineering division. And then the other one was the receipt of the original final plat and review and approval of it by the engineering and planning divisions.
Right.
So those,
Yeah, like I said, I didn't remember it entirely. The plat we got some comments late or mid last week and tried to get it overnighted, but due to weather, I don't know if it got delivered. We had 2 notices from UPS saying it was delayed. It was supposed to have been there today, but I don't know if it got there, but it's on the way.
okay. Well, timing issue will not necessarily affect our consideration because we'll go ahead and, if we approve this, make it subject to those conditions. So at some point it will come into us. Any further questions for Patrick on this?
I would move we approve subject to those conditions.
Thank you,
Second.
Jeff. Thank you, Shan. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening, Patrick.
Did we lose Kevin?
I think we did.
Yeah, he's frozen up or something there. Kevin?
Give him a minute and see if he can get back on. Looks like he left the meeting. Well, Shan, you want me to just go ahead and run this one?
Yeah, go right
Okay.
ahead.
All right. Is Joe Ritchie's on with Bridgestone Americas, Inc.?
I am here.
Okay. You want to tell us what you are wanting?
Yeah, so I am requesting the
I don't have him now either.
Yeah, I just lost him.
Have you got me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened there.
I just introduced Joe Riches with Bridgestone Americas, but we lost him as soon as he started talking.
Oh, okay. Well, Joe, let's see if we can, as soon as Joe comes back on, we'll come back to him. Let's move on to the audience, and thank you, Jeff, for handling that.
Can you hear me?
So there he is.
There we go. Okay.
I lost audio.
We had some technical problems there. We have a memo from Paul Peone regarding the Firestone Auto Care store there on 135. Tell us what you'd like to do.
I think we lost him again.
Daniel, do you have enough information that you can fill us in on this?
Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
Yeah, why
Mr.
don't you
Hoover,
try it if it comes in?
So basically here for the Firestone development, all of this, my understanding is this was all constructed back in 2012, 2013 timeframe. But the original performance bonds were never released. And so they have come before you this evening, I guess, to request acknowledging their completion of their improvements, the private improvements, that is. Also the acceptance of improvements within the public right-of-way, and then also a release of their performance guarantees. And then item number 4 on the agenda is actually a request for a waiver of the maintenance guarantees just due to the time frame since these improvements were made. There is just one condition to the motion, and that's simply for them to pay the balance due on the general inspection and testing agreement, $250. But other than that, we are recommending that you approve all of these, and then also approve the waiver as well, or their waiver request regarding waiver of the maintenance guarantees.
Joe,
Hi,
have you
gentlemen.
hooked
I'm
back
back
up
on.
with
My
us?
apologies.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. Just our city engineer just went through the issues, and I think that you would be pleased with what he's recommending. Is that the only condition to approval of this is that you pay the balance due the general inspection and testing agreement in $250, and that we would also waive the requirement of the maintenance guarantees, given that this has been in place for such a period of time. You have any problems with that?
I don't have any problems with that, no.
Okay. Any questions for Joe or Daniel from Shan or Jeff?
Nope. Nope.
Is there a motion to approve that then?
It's your turn. I'll move for approval.
Okay.
I'll second.
Thank you, Shan and Jeff. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
You too. Now let's go on to issues of anybody from the audience would like to address the Board of Public Works and Safety. Hearing none, let's move on to Mr. Hodson with his IDM compliance plan status update.
We filed our similar monthly report on time and all else as well with our IDM compliance plan.
Thank you, Sam. Let's now go to your status task.
First up is consideration of resolution 21-03, and this is for the stop sign at Alexander Street, East Broadway Street. This is something that you discussed and approved at the last meeting, but we have the document finished.
All right. Well, I'll move that we approve and execute resolution number 21-03.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Colvin. Further discussion? Seeing in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously.
Next up is consideration of resolution 21-05. This is a recommendation of the Common Council to set a per diem for the Fire Merit Commission at $75.
Sam, what are they at now?
I don't think it's been set now. Amanda, can you remind us? I don't believe we have one set right now, do we?
Mr. Hoover, this is Chief Hoggett.
Hi, Chief.
This is in consideration of the new changes for the Fire Merit Commission. So we went from a 3-member board to a 5-member board. The 3-member board was $75 per meeting as a per diem. This is just in consideration of the extra 2 members and making it so it reads alongside the salary ordinance.
Thank you. Thanks, Chief.
I'll move for
Shane,
approval.
is that a motion?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll move for approval. Second.
I'll second that. Jeff will give it to you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next up is consideration of a
Motion
memorandum of
approved
understanding.
unanimously.
Oh. I'm sorry, Kevin, are you ready for me?
Yeah, I'm ready for you. I'm sorry, we're having some errors, Shan, back. Okay.
The next up is consideration of a memorandum of understanding with the Johnson County prosecutor. And this is for the Johnson County prosecutor's budget to pay for training for 2 of our officers. The agreement has been reviewed by Shauna Coons, and it is approved by legal.
This will be for signature by. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second that. Okay. Further discussion? Seeing that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Thank you. Okay. Outdoor lighting agreements.
Yes, this is 2013 through August 2020. And I will need some input from Daniel if you have questions on this particular item.
I think at our last meeting, Jeff in particular had requested a couple of other pieces of information, and I'm not sure. I guess we've got that here. Jeff, have you had a chance to review this?
I'm reviewing it right now. Yeah, it looks like they've addressed what my questions were, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And this is really just a ratification. We've done this, or it's been done.
Right, I would move for approval.
Okay.
Second.
Chan, second that. Further discussion?
Yeah.
Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next up is consideration of outdoor lighting agreement, and this is for McCormick's Estate Section 1. This is one that the mayor's already signed, and we are asking you to ratify his signature.
Sam, is this just one that came up recently, and so it's kind of prompted us to have a consideration of all the old ones?
I think that is correct.
Okay. I'll move that we approve the outdoor lighting proposal for McCormick Estates Section 1 and ratify the mayor's signature on that agreement.
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes.
That's all I have, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Daniel.
Well, good evening. I have 3 items. The first one is regarding the 2020 Community Crossings Matching Grant project. Last fall, the city applied for funding through NDOT's Community Crossing Matching Grant program. We were awarded funds for construction. This project's going to be a full pavement replacement, removing the existing concrete pavement and replacing it with the city's typical asphalt, typical section on those 4 streets there: Waterford Drive, Prairie Drive, Cambridge Drive, and Seville Road shown on the map. We had a bid letting last week, and so in the memo before you are the bids that we received, the contractors and those amounts. Legal and engineering staff, we have reviewed the bids and have agreed that All Star Paving Incorporated was the apparent low, responsive, and responsible bidder. We did have a phone call with them just to discuss the project, and they are definitely motivated and excited about their project. And so our motion would be to award the contract for the base bid to All Star Paving Incorporated as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for this project, and authorize the mayor and deputy mayor to sign the contract on the board's behalf.
And Daniel, I noticed in the memo that that's subject to available funding.
That's correct. Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Questions for Daniel on this?
Have you worked with All Star Paving before?
Not directly, but indirectly, the city has. I believe they were a subcontractor on the city's Western Regional Interceptor project recently.
Further questions? Is there a motion?
It's your turn.
Okay, I move that we award the bid to All Star Paving Inc. in the amount of $1,228,493.86.
I'll second.
Thank you both. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
My next item is regarding the Airport Parkway and Main Street intersection improvement project. The city's been working on this for a while. Through design, we've identified that we need to acquire some land on the south side of the road. And so as the land was never dedicated to the city previously, this will certainly make it easier for us to make the improvements to add the traffic signal equipment for the project. We did have to engage 2 appraisal companies to provide appraisals for this land. Their amounts are there before you in the memo. So the average value of the 2 appraisals was $34,600. It's slightly over half an acre. On the graphic on the left side, you can see the hatched area that identifies it. Last week, the Redevelopment Commission did approve the funding for this. So our recommended motion would be that you approve the acquisition of this 0.357 acres on the south side of Main Street, and to authorize the mayor or deputy mayor to sign all the necessary documents for the offer and purchase, all for the Airport Parkway and Main Street intersection improvement project.
And just for clarification, Daniel, I don't think I received a memo on this. Jeff or Shan, did you?
It's on
Is it on
SharePoint.
SharePoint? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I saw it.
So we opted to put a stoplight in here instead of a roundabout. Is that right, Daniel?
That's correct. Significant cost benefit for the city going in that direction.
With the light?
Correct, versus a roundabout, full roundabout.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There's a number of utility lines on the north side of the road that would have had to have relocated, and that would have been costly.
Further questions or discussion?
I would move we approve the request.
Second.
Moved in second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
And then my last item is regarding the Graham Road and Keaton Way intersection project. So on the screen there on the left, we have two electrical companies, Hoosier Energy and Johnson County REMC, that are actually going to need to do some utility relocation work, replace and install some of their aerial lines, some of the poles near the Graham Road and Keaton Way intersection. We identified that, sorry, let me back up. We also have a traffic signal proposed for this intersection. There was a conflict between the poles and the span wires from the traffic signal versus the wires for the overhead electric. So the 2 utility companies are going to raise their wires, raise their lines. But that work is going to require us, they're going to need to close a lane of southbound Graham Road. They anticipate that this would take about a week, and to do this work only during the daytime. They would open it back up at night. And they are tentatively scheduling the first week of March to do this work and to close that lane. So for your consideration, I was going to request that you approve, or I guess authorize them to close the lane for their relocation work in support of our project.
So moved.
I'll second.
So Daniel, there's never a complete closure of there. They'll just when they close the southbound lanes that people can traverse over into the north side, northbound lane. Okay.
Well, right now there's two southbound lanes or 2 lanes in each direction. So traffic will still be able to proceed. They'll just have to merge.
Okay. Further questions for Daniel? All in favor of the motion? Aye. Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, Daniel. And I'm not sure if this is for you or for Amanda. In the packet that was emailed out, in resolution 18-08, which was an inventory of the signage in the city. Is that something for our consideration or?
In the resolution that Sam had to memorialize the Alexander Street, Shauna added within that resolution that stop sign will be added to
That inventory list? Okay.
the inventory list, yes.
Okay.
So I just sent that out so you could see the list.
Okay. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for clarifying that. Mr. Wright, anything from your office?
Nothing from my office.
Thank you, sir.
I'll move for approval of the claims.
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. If nothing else for the good of the cause, I'll move that we adjourn this matter at 6:21. And so be it. Thank you all. We got
Thank you.
quickly. Yeah.
I'll let you know when the signables are ready in the morning.
Great. Thanks, Amanda.